Good afternoon to all. I welcome you all to third session of day 3. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Dr. L.J. Sudev sir, Dean, COE, and Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering, Mysuru. Sir has 22 years of professional experience, and sir research areas are condition monitoring, biofuels, and composite material. Sir has published more than 63 international journals, and Sir has got many best paper awards, and he is also awarded with Bharat Excellence Award in 2014 and Shishyaru Mechida Guru Award. With all this, I request Dr. L.J. Sudev sir to share his knowledge on condition monitoring of cutting tools. Sudev sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gurupavan, for your lovely introduction. First of all, let me apologize with all the participants for being late. It was an unexpected event that occurred exactly at 2:30, so I couldn't join on time. So I humbly apologize with all the participants for making you to wait for about around 30 minutes. Let me quickly share the screen now. Okay, can someone confirm whether the screen is visible?
Yes, sir. The screen is visible, sir.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, all the participants. You are in the midst of a 5-day faculty development program on diagnostic maintenance of mechanical systems. According to me, this particular topic selected for the faculty development program is highly relevant in the present day industry scenario. See, without diagnostic maintenance, probably industries would not survive. So this assumes a lot of importance from the industry perspective. This topic assumes a lot of importance again from the research perspective. And I also believe strongly that this particular topic should be a part of the curriculum for any mechanical engineering graduate. So with that background, let me move forward. I understand that you are in the third day of the faculty development program. This is the third session, and the session topic is on condition monitoring of cutting tools. I believe that you would have so far had a wonderful time in this faculty development program. You would have probably got a greater insights on diagnostic maintenance. And when I went through the schedule, I got to understand that the schedule is so distributed that it would cover up the diagnostic maintenance of most of the mechanical systems. So today we'll be covering on diagnostic maintenance of cutting tools. Now, before I actually get into the topic, I'd like to make it very clear, whatever that I would cover in this session would be an overview of condition monitoring of cutting tools. So I would like to rephrase this session title as overview of condition monitoring of cutting tools. The reason why I make this comment is, when you say condition monitoring, it is very vast. And condition monitoring of cutting tools also covers a lot of, it involves a lot of knowledge, and there is a lot more to understand. So I don't think I would be able to cover in detail about this particular topic. So I would only touch upon the important points of condition monitoring of cutting tools, or I would rather say I would only explain you or brief about the overview of condition monitoring of cutting tools. So I might not be able to take the complete session time. Probably next 30 to 40 minutes, I should be able to complete my session today. So with this background, let me move to the next slide. This is how my presentation flow would be. I would start with an introduction to the particular topic. and then give you an overview of how a tool condition monitoring system would look like, how does it work. Then I would explain about the different methods available for data acquisition, analysis of signals from sensors. Then I'll touch upon various methods of signal processing, how decision is made regarding the health of the cutting tool would be touched upon under this. And finally, I would just brief you on the areas that can be looked upon if anybody is interested to carry out the research under this, in this domain. So I would touch upon certain research areas at the end of this presentation. Now coming to the introduction, we all know what the present-day manufacturing is. Manufacturing sector has seen a lot of changes. There is a sea change in the manufacturing from the olden days manufacturing to the present day manufacturing. So in fact, if we just take every item that we use in our daily life, the way it was manufactured earlier was completely different, and the way it is being manufactured now is again entirely different. If you take a toothbrush, a simple device which we normally use early in the morning, which was handmade, now this toothbrush is completely automated. The process of manufacturing toothbrush is completely automated. We do not see any intervention of a human being in manufacturing those items now. So any product was initially man-made. Now we have a situation where these products are man and machine made. In fact, they're not only man and machine made, we have stepped into an era where it is completely machine made. Though there's a transformation from man and machine made to machine made at this juncture of time, probably in the days to come, we will have every product being made by machines only without the intervention of any human being. Now with the rolling out of Industry Revolution 4.0, 5.0 and so on, in the days to come, we will have any product to be manufactured by machine made. We are extensively using artificial intelligence. We are extensively using machine learning algorithms in the manufacturing process. In fact, data analytics is also extensively used in manufacturing process. While machining a component, various data are monitored or they are captured in real-time basis. Those data are processed, and based on that data, a decision is being made. That is the era of manufacturing that we are in at this point of time. So there is a lot of changes. Now, when I say there are a lot of changes, changes are not only with respect to how the product is being made. Changes are also, we can visualize a lot of changes in the expectations of the customer. Improvements that are made in the manufacturing era. Any customer would expect a quality product. When I say quality, the dimensional accuracy plays a vital role. Surface finish plays a vital role. So there is a lot of improvements in the quality. Economics. Nobody would like to buy a product which is costlier. Everybody would like to buy a product which is competitive in the market. When I say economics, there are a lot of things that we need to look at. Economics of manufacturing, economics of raw material, economics of machineries, economics of the personal use. So there are so many things that we need to look at. So ultimately, anybody would want to bring down the cost of the product. Any company would like to meet the delivery schedules. When I say delivery schedules, downtime plays a vital role. Downtime of a machine tool plays a vital role. Downtime of a machine plays a vital role. According to the survey, about 20% of the downtime in industry is because of a cutting tool. Because of a failure of a cutting tool, the machine would come to a halt, and that would definitely alter or hamper the delivery schedules. People are trying to, deliver a product well in advance than the scheduled time. That is the era now. So delivery schedules are important, and ultimately productivity of the company is what the company looks at. They would like to produce quality products in good number with minimum resources. So productivity will have to be improved. So these are the requirements of industries. Now, to meet all these, to obtain a quality product, to be very economical in manufacturing, to meet the delivery schedules, to be very highly productive, there are a lot of factors which contribute to this. When I say a lot of factors, it includes the type of raw material that we get. It includes the machining process. It includes the infrastructure that we have. There are so many things, but among all these, cutting tool also plays a vital role. Cutting tool, the type of cutting tool that we use, the healthy cutting tool that we use determines the quality of the product. If you are using a good cutting tool, if you're using a cutting tool as per the requirement, you are able to produce a component which has very high dimension accuracy. You are able to produce a component to the required surface finish. Economy of machining depends on the cutting tool health. Delivery schedules depends on the cutting tool. As I said earlier, if the cutting tool breaks down amidst the manufacturing process, amidst the machining process, the equipment would come to a halt. When I say the equipment comes to a halt, now we are manufacturing components in, assembly using production lines and assembly lines. When we have a series of workstations lined up one next to the other, when work part moves from one machine to the other machine, if one of the machine fails or one of the machine is down because of the cutting tool, the whole line will come to a halt. Imagine the loss of production if the whole line comes to a halt. So you cannot meet the delivery schedules. So using a healthy cutting tool is very important. And obviously, if you want to be highly productive, the cutting tool health plays a major role. So there is a lot of importance given to the right type of tool to be used. Right, when I say right type, it depends on the dimension. There are so many factors again that contribute to identifying the right type of cutting tool. So with this background, I would like to stress upon saying that developing a tool condition monitoring system in any industry is highly imperative now. So almost all the companies are investing a lot on developing tool condition monitoring systems. They have been already put into use extensively. Many industries are developing these tool condition monitoring systems. So that is the importance of a tool condition monitoring system. Now, why should a tool condition monitoring system is to be developed? What are the objectives of tool condition monitoring? Again, probably it's my repetition of whatever I said earlier in the previous slide. Tool condition monitoring system will have to be developed for early detection of cutting tool wear. If the system detects the tool wear well in advance, probably I would not continue the machining process with that worn out tool. I would replace it immediately so that I would not compromise with the dimensional accuracy. We all know usage of a worn out tool will definitely hamper the surface finish, will definitely hamper the dimensional accuracy. Quality would go down. So if I'm able to detect the tool wear automatically well in advance, I can take a decision to replace the tool well in advance before it fails or before it wears out completely, so that I would not compromise with the quality. So this is one of the objectives of tool condition monitoring, early detection of cutting tool wear. When I say early detection of cutting tool wear, that in turn would lead to maintaining a machining accuracy by providing a corrective action of tool wear, as I said earlier. If I detect the tool wear, I can maintain the accuracy of machining because I can change the tool well in advance. Prevention of cutting tool from breakage. See, sometimes it so happens, wear is a gradual phenomenon. Any cutting tool that comes in contact with the workpiece gradually keeps wearing. But there are sometimes we come across a catastrophic failure of the cutting tool. Suddenly it fails because of no reason, because of reason which we do not know. So alarming signals can be given to the operator saying that the tool is about to fail when something goes wrong. So prevention of cutting tool from breakage. To avoid the cutting tool from breaking at any point of time, tool condition monitoring can be adopted. By doing all this, we are able to improve the quality of the product. Productivity will increase. Machine downtime would be reduced to a greater extent. Cost of the product would go down. So these are the objectives of tool condition monitoring. Now, how is it done? What are the different methods available for tool condition monitoring? There are two important methods. One is conventional, which we cannot use. The other one is the advanced method, which we are supposed to use. Let me brief you about those two types of tool condition monitoring. The first one is called as direct method of tool condition monitoring, or direct method of condition monitoring. What is it all about? In direct method, which is a conventional method of monitoring the tool, conventional method of monitoring the health of the tool, conventional method of monitoring the status of the tool. When I say conventional method, it is a process where during the machining process, the machine is stopped, the cutting tool is removed from the tool post, observe it under a microscope, measure what is the tool wear, then determine whether the tool wear is within the limits or it has crossed the limits, and then make a decision whether you are using a sharp tool or a worn out tool. So in this direct method, you are measuring the tool wear by conventional process, measuring the volumetric loss. When I say volumetric loss, it is the wearing out of the material from the sharp edge of the tool. Okay, so that is what we call it as direct method. This is completely an offline method. What are the disadvantages? If you want to follow this direct method, which is offline, I will have to stop the machine, remove the cutting tool from the tool post, observe it under a tool maker's microscope, measure what is the tool wear, then make a decision whether the tool is worn out or a sharp tool. By this time, you would have lost the production rate would come down drastically because there is a downtime of the machine. This is not a suggested method of tool condition monitoring, which is very conventional. Now we have indirect methods. When I say indirect method, I can also call it as online method. What is this indirect method? Name suggests this is a method of monitoring the condition of a cutting tool based on the parameters which are affected by the tool wear. Say, for example, if I am using a worn out tool during any machining process, a worn out tool will create a lot of cutting forces on the tool. The cutting force will increase. If I'm using a worn out tool, there is an unwanted noise being produced. If I'm using a worn out tool, the acoustic emission in a cutting tool, in a workpiece will increase. If I'm using a worn out tool, the tool tip temperature will increase drastically. If I'm using a worn out tool, the power requirement would be high. The current requirement would be high. If I'm using a worn out tool, there will be vibrations in the cutting tool. So all these, whatever I mentioned, vibration, cutting force, acoustic emission, noise, power requirement, current requirement, all these are the parameters which indicate the status of the cutting tool. They are tool wear dependent parameters. If tool wear is high, these parameters would, if there is a variation of tool wear, these parameters would also vary. Normally, if tool wear increases, these parameters also increases. So in indirect method of tool condition monitoring, we don't directly measure the tool wear. Instead, we actually monitor these parameters which are dependent on the tool wear, and thereby come to a conclusion whether the tool is in good state or in the bad state. So these are the indicating parameters: force, vibration, temperature, or acoustic emission. All these are indicating parameters. So if you are measuring these parameters, you don't have to stop the machine to measure tool wear, because you are nowhere measuring the tool wear directly. Instead, you are measuring the other parameters which are dependent on tool wear. So this is an online method. And if you follow this online method, you don't have to stop the machine, and the production rate is not reduced. So all the present day condition monitoring systems uses this indirect method, which is an online method. And there are so many signals available, sensor signals available, which you can monitor. There are varieties of sensor signals which can be monitored to determine the status of the cutting tool. So any research work or any development of condition monitoring systems tool condition monitoring systems are based on indirect or online method, or I would rather call it as an automatic method. So what is the configuration of a tool condition monitoring system? How does it actually work? This is a block diagram which very briefly indicates how a tool condition monitoring system would work. All the signals obtained from different sensors are acquired by a data acquisition system. Those sensors, when I say different signals, I'm talking about those acoustic emission, cutting force, torque, temperature, so on. Those signals which are dependent on tool wear, they're acquired by a data acquisition system and they're stored in the main computer. From these signals, certain features are extracted, or these signals are processed to our requirements. The processed signal is given as an input to a device or a system which makes decision about the condition of the cutting tool. Say, for example, if the cutting force is greater than X value, some X value, the system determines that the tool is worn out. If the temperature of the tool, if the tool tip temperature is more than, say, 100 degrees centigrade, just an example, is more than 100 degrees centigrade, the system says, no, the tool is worn out. So this decision on the condition of the cutting tool is based on the values of these signals. So we have intelligent pattern recognition systems. We have intelligent decision-making systems, which gives us the information about the status of the tool, whether it's worn out or a sharp tool. In simple, this is how a tool condition monitoring system would work. In fact, I would say this is how an online tool condition monitoring system would work. During this process, nowhere you have to stop the machining process. As the machining is going on, parallelly, you are monitoring certain signals, acquiring certain signals on real-time basis. Those signals are processed. Based on the intensity of those signals, a decision is made whether the tool has worn out or it is still in the good condition. If the decision is made that the tool is worn out, only then you can stop the machining process, replace the tool. In fact, if we are using an advanced machines now, like CNC machines and so on, which has automatic tool changes, that intelligent system can give a control signal to the automatic tool changer to change the tool automatically without waiting for the human being to come and intervene. Okay, so this is how basically a tool condition monitoring system would work. Again, this would explain the same process, but only thing is it would only elaborate on what type of sensors are used and so on. If you look at the left-hand side here, this is the machining process. Machining is going on. There are so many sensors mounted. From those sensors, the following signals can be acquired. It can be acoustic emission, force, vibration, current, power. You can also take the image of the cutting tool using a machine vision system. You can install a camera on real-time basis, keep taking the images, match those images with a worn out tool, then take a decision whether it's worn out or it is still in the good condition. You can also add temperature to this tool tip temperature. If you are doing it for a drilling process, you can add torque. So there are so many such sensors that can be used, or there are so many such signals that can be acquired. Now these signals are processed. Why are they processed? I will let you know later. And this process signal is given to a classifier or is given to a decision-making system. That decision-making system would give us the condition of the cutting tool. It will let us know whether it's a worn-out tool, is there any chipping in the tool, is there any breakage in the tool. It will let us know whether there's a failure in the tool, if there's any chatter or vibration in the cutting tool. That condition can be determined. So in general, this is the block diagram explaining how a tool condition monitoring system would work. Now, looking at different stages of tool condition monitoring, the first important stage is data acquisition. Okay, This is one, a slide which shows you how data are acquired. This is a turning operation. You have a dynamometer mounted on it. A dynamometer is a device which measures force and torque. Okay, that dynamometer, you measure acoustic emission signal here. You measure vibration using accelerometer. That vibration is amplified, and that signal is stored in a computer. You pick up acoustic emission signal, that is amplified, that is again stored in a computer. You measure the temperature of the cutting tool, that signal is stored in a computer. You measure the current used from the power source, that is stored in a computer. Okay, just to cross check or to correlate that with the tool wear, you can also measure the tool wear using toolmaker's microscope, and that can also be stored in the computer, just to correlate those two. So data can be simultaneously acquired from different sensors, from different sources, and those data are stored in a computer. This is called as data acquisition. This is one more sketch again. You have a microphone mounted to pick up the noise, pick up the sound. You have a force sensor that is amplified, and through AD card, analog to digital card, it is stored in a computer. You have a TV, you have a camera here to click the images of the cutting tool at different stages through a vision system. You have an AE, acoustic emission vibrator sensor. All these are stored in the system for further processing. This is a real-time actual image where the acoustic emission signal is being monitored. If you observe in the next image, this is the acoustic emission sensor mounted on the workpiece very close to the machining area. Very close to the machining area, the acoustic emission signal is mounted, and that acoustic emission signal is actually captured in the personal computer. And this is a lathe tool dynamometer. This is a lathe tool dynamometer. It's a sensor which is mounted under the workpiece, so that measures the cutting force, and this is an indicating device. This value is indicated here. It is called as a force dynamometer, or lathe tool force indicator, which measures the cutting force. It also measures the cutting torque, indicating device. This is a heat spy, which actually measures the tool tip temperature. And this is a non-contact type of temperature measurement. At certain distance, you can just focus the heat spy to the tool tip temperature. Infrared rays are made to impinge on the tip of the tool, and the reflected images are observed, and a decision is made on the value of the tool tip temperature. So these are some of the sensors available for measurement of the tool dependent parameters. When you measure these parameters, what guarantee that these signals that we have measured through various devices actually correlate to tool wear? There is no guarantee. They might represent the actual value of tool wear, they might not. So basically, before we proceed, these data, these raw signals, which are acquired from different sources, which are acquired from different sensors, are subjected to simple analysis. Simple functional relationships are plotted. This is one example here. You have wear being captured here. There is a graph which shows you the variation of cutting tool or variation of the wear, and along with that you can also see various other signals. You can see thrust, you can see tool tip temperature, you can see torque. Now, what is that we can observe from this graph? If you closely observe, as the wear, tool wear is changing, accordingly, thrust is also changing. But the deviation of torque and the deviation of tool tip temperature is not that significant. Now, from this functional relationship, I come to a conclusion that thrust is closely related to the wear data compared to torque and temperature. This gives me an indication which among the measured signals is giving me the real picture of the tool wear. it gives me which among these signals is actually correlating to tool wear. From this analysis, a simple analysis, I can conclude that thrust is closely related to tool wear when compared to other signals. Of course, the other two signals like this is tool tip temperature, this is torque. Even they are increasing with increase in tool wear, but that increase is not that significant when compared to thrust. Likewise, I can capture acoustic emission. This is the waveform of an acoustic emission. Acoustic emission has different parameters. You can measure so many parameters from this one single waveform. There's so many parameters like RMS, energy, signal strength, count, frequency, and so on. Okay, you can just derive so many parameters. Let me just show an example how these parameters would vary with the tool wear. This is a graph which shows the variation of one of the parameter of AE, acoustic emission, AE RMS, with the measuring time. If you observe, as the measuring time increases, the AE RMS is also changing. Initially, AE RMS shoots up, then it remains constant, then again it increases rapidly. Hope you all know how a tool wear, the characteristics of tool wear. Any tool wear has 3 stages. A tool wear curve. The first stage, where there is a rapid increase in the tool wear, is called as rapid tool wear stage. The second stage, the tool wear almost remains constant. This is called a steady state stage. The third stage, again, there is a rapid increase in the tool wear. So this is, the first one is called a set-in period, steady state condition, and the rapid tool wear stage. As the tool is being used for a longer time, then the tool wear increases gradually. Initially, it takes some time for the tool to set in. So when a new tool is used, when a fresh tool is used, initially there will be higher tool wear, then it settles down, then it increases rapidly. This is the characteristics of a tool wear. If you closely observe the behavior of AE RMS, this AE RMS is also matching with the characteristic of a tool wear. Initially, there is stage 1, a rapid increase in RMS with a rapid increase in tool wear. This is stage 2, tool wear almost remains constant, signifying the steady state tool wear here. AE RMS remains almost constant because tool wear will also remain constant. Then AE RMS increases sharply with a lot of undulations in the graph here. So this signifies that the tool wear has increased by a greater extent. So what I'm trying to tell you here is this AE RMS graph, AE root mean square graph, one of the parameter of acoustic emission, one of the signal that is measured, it is behaving very closely to the behavior of a tool wear. It's a clear indication that this AE RMS correlates well with the tool wear. Likewise, we have some other signals. This is energy of the acoustic emission signal. This is the signal strength of the acoustic emission signal. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is phase 1, phase 2, and this is phase 3. Correlating well with the 3 phases of a characteristic tool wear curve. There are 2 more signals here. One is called as AE count. The other one is called as frequency, AE frequency. These 2 signals are actually the inverse of what we had in the previous 3 cases. Where there is an increase in signal, AE count decreases. Then it remains constant. In the previous case, when there is rapid tool wear, the signal increased, but here the signal decreased. Though it is reverse of what happened in the previous 3 cases, but still there are 3 stages here. Stage 1, set-in period. Stage 2, steady state period. Stage 3, rapid wear period. So from these simple functional relationships, we can understand, or we can just correlate the behavior of the measured signals with the tool wear. We are guaranteed that these signals can be confidently used to indicate the status of the cutting tool. They can be used to predict the cutting tool wear. Now, after having done this simple analysis, after having acquired the signal, after having done the simple analysis, the next stage is signal processing. Now, the question is, why is signal processing required? What do we mean by signal processing and why is it required? See, any raw signal that is obtained from a sensor will also carry along with it certain noise. Noise are unwanted signals. These signals sometimes would be very feeble. They require some amplification. If they carry noise, they will have to be denoised. It will have to be filtered. Also, these signals, there are certain features in these signals which strongly correlate to the tool wear. So we will have to extract that feature from the raw signal. So this filtering and feature extraction, I would call it as signal processing. Denoising it, modulating it, or amplifying it, extracting the features, all this put together, we call it as signal processing. The signal is processed to extract the right feature, to remove the noise, to amplify to the required level, and so on. Now, what type of signal processing can be done? Of course, it might not be the, a cup of tea for a mechanical engineer. Probably an ENC electronics and communication engineer would be more familiar with these types of signal processing analysis. Signal processing can be done in time domain, frequency domain, or time frequency domain, or in the statistical domain. When we're doing time domain analysis, our focus is on analyzing the parameter, analyzing the signal as a function of time. Okay. So these analysis methods apply time series models to the raw waveform, to the waveform data. There are so many models that are available. Those models are applied. All these are time series models. Those time series models are applied in the time domain analysis. Usually, force signal is subjected to time domain analysis because force tends to vary with time. So force signals are subject to time domain analysis. Frequency domain analysis is something different from time domain analysis. This method analyzes how much of signal lies in a particular frequency band over a range of frequency. We have fast Fourier transforms to do this. Vibration and force signals are the normal signals which are subjected to, are the ones which are usually subjected to frequency domain analysis. In time frequency domain analysis, these methods provide information about localization of signals both in time and frequency domain at the same time. So these are some of the feature extraction techniques, filtering techniques which are done on the raw signal so that the diagnostic method would be more efficient and more effective in predicting the tool wear or making a decision about the status of the tool wear. After having processed the signal, next comes decision making. How are we making the decision? It is based on those processed signals. These processed signals are the incoming signal features. Based on that incoming signal features, we predict the tool condition. When I say predicting the tool condition, I am referring to estimating tool wear and classifying tool wear. What do you mean by estimating tool wear? See, this condition monitoring system, this tool condition monitoring system, over a period of time, it can give you what is the tool. It can estimate the tool wear. It can say the tool wear is 100 microns, 150 microns, 200 microns. It increased from 200 microns to 250 microns. It can keep estimating tool wear. And as an operator, if we observe those estimated wear, and if I find that the tool wear value has crossed a limit, then I will conclude that the tool has worn out. It is a time to change the tool. Or when the tool wear value crosses some limit, the system itself takes a decision that the tool has worn out. That system itself will send out a control signal to the machine, either to stop the machining process or to change the tool automatically. Sometimes it gives you an alarm saying that the tool has worn out. Okay, we can estimate tool wear. Also, we can classify tool wear. When I say estimate tool wear, it gives you the value. When I say classification of tool wear, it only says the tool is worn out or the tool is sharp. If all during the machining, just for an example, during the machining, if a green light is glowing, it indicates the tool is still in the good stage. At some point of time, if there is a glowing of a red light, there's an indication that the tool is worn out. I will not know the value, but it will only indicate that the tool is worn out. It only gives me it only classifies the tool, whether it's sharp or worn out. This is what a decision-making system would do. There are so many methods available for decision making. We have statistical methods like regression analysis, we have pattern recognition, we have artificial neural network, expert system, fuzzy logic, and so on. Now, please remember, we are normally adopting a system which is based on AI and ML technology. Almost all the decision making systems that are used in tool condition monitoring are based on AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. These systems will make a decision. As I said earlier, if the value has crossed a limit, it will indicate the operator saying that the tool is worn out. The operator would change the tool, or the machine itself or the diagnostic system itself will decide to change the tool, and it sends a control signal asking the automatic tool changer to change the tool if it's a CNC machine. If the conventional machine, obviously you don't have automatic tool changing capacity, the operator has to do it. So in general, this is the overview of how a tool condition monitoring system would work. But just if you want to explore where all we can do the research, where all we can carry out research, if at all, if you are interested. Number one, machining process. There are so many machining processes. The literature survey says there are a lot of work done on turning process and milling process. There are very limited works available on drilling and grinding process. So you can, select a particular type of machining process and carry out a research. So this is one of the parameters which can be thought of, selecting the right type of machining process. Machines. Should I carry out on a conventional machine, a CNC machine, a high-speed, machine? So research can be explored on different types of machines in condition monitoring. Types of cutting tool, a single point cutting tool or a multi-point cutting tool. Is it a 10 mm drill bit, 20 mm drill bit? What is the overhang? If at all, if I'm using single point cutting tool, what is the overhanging length? So types of cutting tools can also be explored. Cutting conditions, other conditions. At what depth of, what is the depth of cut? What is the machining, cutting speed? What is the feed rate given? Those cutting conditions, at different cutting conditions, we can just explore how tool condition monitoring system would work. And when I say other conditions, sometimes you can do, you can carry out a research work on tool condition monitoring system when we are cutting the machine, when we are cutting the component without the use of any coolant or with the use of coolant. So that will definitely, see, if you are using coolant, to some extent, you are bringing down the, tool tip temperature, the values would change. Okay, so with coolant, without coolant, what is the surrounding conditions, atmospheric conditions, where the machining taking place, what are the cutting conditions, all these parameters can be explored. Sensor signals. I just gave an example earlier. There was a graph which indicated that thrust is correlating well to tool wear rather than the torque and temperature. So you can make you carry out research work on identifying the right signal. What signal will correlate and what should be carried forward as an effective tool condition monitoring system. So that area can be explored. Should I follow multi-sensory or single sensor approach? Nowadays, all the tool condition monitoring systems are multi-sensory approaches. You combine more than 2 signals and then try to monitor the status of the cutting tool, not based on a single sensor, based on the signal obtained from a single sensor. Multi-sensory approach is one that is being widely given a lot of importance, but there are systems which work on a single single signal obtained from a single sensor. Data acquisition methods can be looked into. What method should be adopted to acquire the data? In what conditions? Should it be, how do we integrate those? Integration of data is also very important. When you are following multisensory approach, data are acquired independently. When I say independently, they are obtained from different sources, and those data will have to be integrated and given as an input signal to the decision-making algorithm. So data acquisition methods, at what conditions and what condition do you acquire those data? How do we integrate those data? All this can be explored. Signal processing, every stage of signal processing, like denoising, extracting features, effectiveness, all the if you use an artificial neural network, find out how effective it is. Okay. So these are some of the areas which we can explore. And the last one is decision-making techniques, like what different techniques can be used, what is the effectiveness of those techniques. Whenever you are using a decision-making technique, by itself, that technique would not tell this tool as worn out. It should be trained first. That is why I said machine learning comes into picture here. That system should learn the process. So we need to train it initially. So when I want to train the system, how much amount of data should I have to train the system? So that training set will have an effect. Any artificial neural network will have a lot of hidden layers. The network differs from one type of ANN to another type of artificial neural network. You can just explore the different types of architectures available. Which is the best suited can be identified. So these are some of the areas which can be explored for, if you want to carry out a research on tool condition monitoring system. Now, if time permits, maybe I can take just a case study, a simple case study, and show you how it works. Or probably we can close at this stage if Group 1.
Sir.
Can we close at this stage? I actually had a case study to show it up to the participants, but that probably takes some more time. It's already 3:43. I think we will stop at this stage with an overview of how the tool condition monitoring system will work. If there are any questions from the participants, I would be happy to take.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing a valuable information on condition monitoring of cutting tools. Now, I would like to request the participants to clear their doubts with Sudev, sir.
Okay, if there are no questions, I think we can stop at this stage, Dr. Gurupavan.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Nice presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.